Hello, new managers. Welcome to Leadership Lessons. Today's topic is feedback. Sometimes it's difficult to express our thoughts, but when we don't, we stop communicating, we lose sleep, and create much more problems. So let's see how you can get more comfortable with your feedback. Imagine that you're taking off from Toronto, destination London, and the pilot makes a 1-degree error on the road. You might end up landing in Paris rather than London. It will probably not be cool for the passengers, right? Why it doesn't happen? Because the plane has a navigation system that is continuously monitoring and correcting the route. The same way as the GPS in your car will guide you all the way from Toronto to New York. And will recalculate your trip every time you take a detour. Feedback works in the same way. It gives information back to the team to correct the route in order to get where we want. So it's important to know where we are going, as we discussed in last week's lessons on expectations. Cars have other features that give you security too, such as ESP, Electronic Stability Program, that monitors automatically that you are not driving out of your lane, down the ditch or a cliff. If you just slip into an ice or wet floor and now you see someone running to the same spot, you will probably warn him, right? Rather than letting him fall and hurting himself. When you don't give feedback to your team, you are disservicing them. You are betraying their trust. You choose to keep silent and let them drive into a hazardous road. You let them drive into a place where they won't hit their objectives, their bonus, or the promotion. So when you are finally speaking about that in the career review in 3 months' time, they will be taken by surprise. And people don't like to be taken by surprise at work. Surprise at work most of the time generates trust issues with your manager. So if you really care about your team, make sure you help them stay on track. When someone hears about feedback, it automatically relates to uncomfortable situations, stress, conflict. The reality is that feedback doesn't need to be only corrective. There are studies done on training dogs that have shown that dog learns quicker through positive reinforcement and rewards than through punishment. The same happens to humans, children, and employees. Praising, gratefulness, celebration are all part of a positive feedback. When you are frequently praising positive behaviors, celebrating success, you will naturally encounter less need for corrective feedback. And if your employee receives more feedback from you, he will digest corrective feedback much better, as he knows that you care about him. Ideally, you should aim to have at least double positive feedback than corrective ones. And if this still new to you, start by simple things. Saying thank you. Complimenting on a piece of clothes, shirt, a tie, a dress. Noticing a good mood today, or a smile, or your new haircut. And little by little, you'll start speaking about more works related success. And what makes feedback difficult is that most managers mix fact, behaviors, and people. There's a difference between saying, Joe is bad, and saying, Joe is struggling with this report. In the first sentence, we are speaking about the person and his attributes. We are classifying, judging. In the second sentence, we are speaking about a fact. We are analyzing a situation where Joe seems to have difficulties in preparing a report. Most managers tend to speak about the person. No wonder that they feel worried and stressed. They imagine someone else telling the same thing and how they will behave and how they will react. When you are addressing a behavior or a fact, you are taking the focus out of the person, as if the manager and the employee were both reading something written on a whiteboard, which actually is a technique I use in conflict management. And the best way to initiate feedback is leading by questions. Put yourself in a curiosity mode, trying to understand what causes the behavior of the situation. Sincerely wanting to help that person grow and do better. Instead of asking why the report is always late, you could say, what problems are you encountering when preparing that report? It shifts the discussion from the accusing energy, why, to the curiosity energy, using open questions. Open questions might uncover difficulties and resistance that you wouldn't be aware by simply stating an issue. Open questions is a method that is the closest to a normal conversation. You start by general, neutral questions, and you keep asking others until you get to the point you want to discuss. You can also use other approach like the BIFF approach. It doesn't mean throwing stacks to your employee. BIFF means B for behavior, I for impact, F for feelings, and F for future. It goes like that, behavior. Joe, I noticed that you have submitted your report late again. Impact, which has delayed the accounting month-end process and obliged people to work overtime. Feeling, accounting and myself are not happy to have to work late every month to keep our deadline to the group. Future, what can you do to avoid us being in the same situation next month? This is the most effective technique I use over my career, and my preferred one actually. The other common method is called sandwich feedback. It consists in delivering your corrective feedback between 2 or more layers of praising. It will go a bit like that. First praise, Joe, I really appreciate the work you've done with the backlog on suppliers. Then corrective feedback, I wish you could be as effective on the month-end report. Second praise, I'm sure that you will, with your usual professionalism, you should be able to deliver on time next month. Although I use this approach for a while in my career, I find it more difficult to use as you don't always have a automatically good layer of praising available. So when you use it frequently, people keep waiting for the but, as they recognize the trick and don't give much importance to the praising anymore. These techniques are meant to help deliver the feedback, but they are only the start. They are meant to open a discussion where the manager needs to keep an open mind for unknown information. Feedback are meant to turn into casual discussions. For that to happen, it has to happen frequently. I see a lot of managers that keep holding on feedback only because there is a progress review next month or in next 3 months. Feedback is most effective when delivered close to when the issue happened. There are several reasons for delivering feedback right away. First, if you wait too much, you lose the impact of it. The person might not actually remember the situation. Second, in a month, your employee might fall over the cliff without fair warning. Something that can get worse, actually. 3, if you hold on a lot of feedback, there will be plenty of unpleasant discussions over the progress review. And no wonder some people get very stressed about it. And 4, you won't have also time during the progress review to focus on the real thing that has to happen in the progress review, which is actually working on the growth of that person. So use any occasion available. Casual discussion at the coffee machine or on the hallways, one-on-one meeting, weekly catch-up, when you receive an email and you have to react at that point, at the end of a meeting. Give feedback as frequently as you can. The more you give, the more it would feel natural for you and your employees. Unless the feedback relates to everyone, or it's a praise, feedback are better delivered in person to avoid putting someone in the spotlight. Also, use a video conference. Take the phone, walk to that person's desk. Don't do it over a one-way communication method like email. Emails and Messenger have a lag time and might create misunderstanding that you will pick up early over the phone by listening to the tone or the silences or watching the body language. So, tips to remember about feedback. Feedback is a GPS of your team. It's meant to keep your team safe. Praising is also feedback. Aim for more praising than corrections. Speak about facts and behaviors, not about people. Lead with open questions. Be curious, sincerely curious. Combine BIFF and sandwich methods, the best for different situations. Don't wait for a better time. There won't. Do it frequently. At any occasion that you have the chance. Do it personally, not in group. Prefer in-person conversation, video call, or phone call. Thank you for joining another leadership lesson. I hope you'll learn a lot of things today. If you need help implementing these tips or exploring other ideas, message me on LinkedIn. See you soon.